Hello everyone, welcome back once again. I am Nicodemus Kane. Today is December the 29th of 2022. I am a little flustered. I woke up and the dogs decided that they wanted to all go out today, which usually they sleep through me going downstairs and getting my water and taking my vitamins and all the other stuff. But today they wanted to be awake and they all needed to go out. And they all wanted to go out and meander around, and it caused me to be late. But that's okay. I can't be that mad at them. They're dogs. What do you want? Especially our new big dog, Shelby, which was my mom's dog. She lived in a house with a dog door, so living in a place like this where we have to let them out is entirely new to her. And when that dog wants to go out, boy, she wants to go out. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't matter to her. But we love her. She's a big bear. She is a big bear. She is a big, grumpy bear. 14 years old. Big. It is a large dog. Yeah, she's definitely old. She's... If I wasn't calling her Mama Bear, I'd be calling her Snap, Crackle, Pop. Anyways, we're gonna read Jeremiah 22 today. We're gonna jump into it because this one's pretty big. This is a page and a half, at least. I would say, yeah, page and a half, maybe page and 3/4. But it's a big one. It's probably the biggest chapter we've had in a couple chapters. And so I'm not going to do any current events. I'm not going to do any random talking about life other than talking about the dogs this morning. We're just going to go ahead and jump into this so that we can actually have time to cover it. Because I know how these things go. And I would probably stop halfway through and meander on about some subject anyways. You know how it is. So, Jeremiah 22. Thus saith the Lord, go down to the house of the king of Judah, and speak there this word, and say, hear the word of the Lord, O king of Judah, that sittest upon the throne of David, thou and thy servants, and thy people that enter in by these gates. Thus saith the Lord, execute ye judgment and righteousness, and deliver the spoiled out of the hand of the oppressor. And do no wrong, do no violence to the stranger, the fatherless, nor the widow, neither shed innocent blood in this place. For if ye do this thing indeed, then shall there enter in by the gates of this house kings sitting upon the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, he and his servants and his people. But if ye will not hear these words, I swear by myself, saith the Lord, that this house shall become a desolation. For thus saith the Lord unto the king's house of Judah, thou art Gilead unto me, and the head of Lebanon. Yet surely I will make thee a wilderness, and cities which are not inhabited, and I will prepare destroyers against thee, every one with his weapons, and they shall cut down thy choice cedars, and cast them into the fire. And many nations shall pass by this city, and they shall say, every man to his neighbor, wherefore hath the Lord done this unto this great city? Then they shall answer, because they have forsaken the covenant of the Lord their God, and worshipped other gods, and served them. Alright, what is this? Is that... It has to be my water. There's a spot of water on my desk. What is this? How big is it? Huh. It must have been where I opened my water. I just put my hand in it. I'm just like, oh, it's wet. What is... Anyways. Starting back up at the top. We've heard this I know we've heard this. Let me see if I can find this. Some parts of Jeremiah have been almost word for word exactly the same. But we have heard this in somewhat of a different way. And I'm kind of thinking it was up towards the front. I'm not finding it immediately. That's the girdle. 12. No. Let me see if it's chapter 11. No. Chapter 10. No, that's about the trees. It's gotta be. I mean, we've read this. I know we've read this. I know that we've... Yeah, right here, chapter 7. Go down, King's to execute ye judgment into it. Thus saith the Lord God of amend your ways and your doings. If you thoroughly amend your ways and your doings, if ye thoroughly execute judgment between a man and his neighbor, if ye oppress not the stranger, the fatherless and the widow. So where was he going? Stand in the gate of the Lord's house and proclaim there this word. So that was speaking in the temple in Jerusalem. So now it's saying, go to the king of Judah and say the same exact things. That's what it is. That's where we are. You got it now? I got it now. I had to look. I was like, why in the world does this sound exactly the same? Because he's in two different places, saying the same exact things. So starting back up at the top of 22, thus saith the Lord, go down to the house of the king of Judah. Okay, not the temple. This is the house of the king of Judah, and speak there this word, and say, hear the word of the Lord, O king of Judah, that sittest upon the throne of David, thou and thy servants and thy people that enter in by these gates. So he is openly talking to the king now. That was before he was just talking to the priests and the people that were coming into the temple, and he was talking to all those that were coming in for salvation. Now he is openly going to the king and saying, okay, I've talked to all the little people, now it's time to go to the top, and we're going to talk to you, and we're going to tell you this, thus saith the Lord, execute ye judgment and righteousness, and deliver the spoiled out of the hand of the oppressor, and do no wrong, do no violence to the stranger, the fatherless, nor the widow, neither shed innocent blood in this place. So right off the top, there's something that sticks out to me. It's not in the Bible, I don't think, where they talk about the things that happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. It's in Jasher, where they talk about the stranger that would come into the land, and it must have been, the stranger would come into the city, like a merchant would come into the city, and it must have been a law, because it was okay for the people to do this. Nobody even blinked an eye when the people did this. Is that as soon as he stepped in, the people of the city would grab him, take all of his stuff, and then give him a bag of money and let him walk freely about the city, but they wouldn't let him buy anything. That's Jasher saying this. Now, you don't have to believe it if you don't want to. It's fine, but again, I say Jasher knows a lot more about the world than you do, apparently. But that's as soon as I see do no violence to the stranger. As soon as I see something like that, that's all that keeps coming in my head. I'm not saying that that's what they did, other than the other stories I've heard of, if you were If you were so big or so small, they would put you on a bed. And if you were too short, they would stretch you to fit this bed. If you were too long, they'd cut your legs off. It's crazy stuff. I mean, of course, again, this is Sodom and Gomorrah. This is way before Jeremiah was even thought about. But back then, evil wasn't hidden like it is now. I mean, evil is starting to, it's coming out into the streets. I've seen enough videos of people just killing others openly in the streets now to know what kind of evil we're dealing with. But back then, it wasn't hidden. Didn't have to hide that much. They hid the worst stuff in the background, but it was still out in the open. And it seemed like the kings were willing to let this evil just happen. We hear about places like Jerusalem, and we hear about places like some of the other cities that I can't think of right now, that I'm not even going to worry about thinking about right now. We hear about other places like that where it's just like, oh, they're just not listening to the Lord. Oh, they're just not following God's laws. They're just not following God's commandments, and all this stuff's going to happen and all that. You don't hear about how bad the other places are. They talk about the king of Assyria that just runs right over top of them, that will take them and make them slaves, take them to another place, make them slaves, and do all these terrible things to them. You hear about that stuff, but you don't really know how bad it was. You don't know how bad the Roman Empire was. According to some of the historians, the ones that want to tell the truth, Roman life was openly decadent. They openly celebrated the worst kind of perversions right out in the streets. You have the I always go back to the vomitoriums. They had places for you to go when you were too drunk and you needed to puke, and you just threw up right there. There's probably worse than that. They had the communal baths where all kinds of nastiness probably happened. They had, what was the one? They went to Pompeii, and they had said while they were digging out the streets of Pompeii, they started finding what you would consider the red light district. And the worst part about it was they would have images of what it was. They didn't. Some of them would have signs that would have Roman letters on it that would say brothel or whatever it was. But some of them would have images of men and women, and a couple of them had little kids, as in, come into this brothel and you can have this. And that was out in the open. That was out in the streets. This was Pompeii. Now you could very easily say, well, Pompeii got its comeuppance. I mean, that was God wiping out something that probably shouldn't have been there. Hey, you're right. I absolutely agree with that 100%. But what if it was all like that? What if if one place was doing it, other places were probably doing it too. You don't hear very much of it whenever Christ was walking around Jerusalem, because maybe it wasn't so bad there. But what about ancient Rome? What about ancient Greece? You hear the stories of what these places used to do, but we don't know for certain. And I could see that, though. It's like in order to appease the people, because they didn't really have like ultimate brainwashing back then. Not like today, where it's just like you sit a kid in front of a TV and you'll brainwash them for the rest of their life. They had to appease the people in different ways, through sex, violence, the Colosseums, anything and everything. That whole bread and circuses deal, and evil snowballs. Remember, we talked about that. So, if people's perversions are going to go one way, they're going to go that way, and they're just going to get worse and worse and worse, and they're just going to need more and more evil to satiate their desires. And that would mean that the rulers would have to enact laws that would say, hey, we're going to let this happen. Just don't let it get too far out of control. And that's how cities get beyond control. That's how it gets. Look at Chicago. Just look at how bad Chicago is. They pretty much have given up. They just pretty much said, hey, we're not going to send anybody out to enforce any laws anymore. We're just basically going to let everybody go do whatever the hell they want to do. And good luck to you. Look at Los Angeles. Look at the videos of the people that are just living on the streets of Philadelphia, openly just taking drugs. Like, people just don't care. Look at that kind of stuff. That's just degradation. The mayors of those cities, the council people of those cities, they don't care. If they cared, they would be trying to clean it up. But they don't care. They want the people to be as pleased as possible while they go off and do all of their... While the councilmen, the mayors, the people at the top, go off and do whatever the hell that they do. In the meantime, the people suffer. They don't have to suffer. They could be judging righteously and trying to help people out, but they're not. They're not doing anything. They're just letting it happen. They're just letting it all fall apart. And I'm not one for ultimate governmental help. I don't want the government to go in there and just be like, oh, well, here, have some money, do this, do that. No. You could be enforcing better choices, but instead you're letting society fall apart. Now, that's all part of a plan. We know that. It's, the New World Order. You have to destroy everything before you build it back up, before you build it back better. Now, we know what that is, of course, but that just... I hear that, and it's like I said, that's all I think about is, the stranger. Do no violence to the stranger. To people that come into the city. Just random people that come, do no violence to them. That's what I hear. I'm sure other people can hear other things. And again, I'm not the perfect person to be listening to. We're just trying to figure this out for ourselves. That just is what it is. Okay? But do no violence to the stranger, the father, nor the widow, neither shed innocent blood in this place. Verse 4. For if ye do this thing indeed, then shall there enter in by the gates of this house kings sitting upon the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, he and his servants and his people. You will have kings coming to you, giving you favor, giving you praise, giving you, saying, hey, we're going to bow down to you. You're far more better than we are. We're just measly peasants compared to you. You have God on your side. But if ye will not hear, come on now. I got to turn the page. Come on. But if ye will not hear these words, I swear by myself, saith the Lord, that this house shall become a desolation, if you choose not to listen to what I say. This isn't even commandments. This isn't even the 10 Commandments. This isn't even the law of God. This is God just telling you right now, out in the open, be good to the people. Deliver the spoiled out of the hand of the oppressor. Do no wrong. Do not hurt the fatherless. Do not hurt the widow. Do not shed innocent blood. That's just God commanding you to do something. That's not a commandment. Or not, okay, let's put this another way. What people would consider a commandment. Because there's a lot of people out there that will argue, well, what is a commandment and what is a law? Well, when God tells you to do something, just don't do it. If God tells you that if you sin against him and you have to repent by going and doing something, and he says, that's my law, well, then you know it's his law. But if God commands you to do something, that's a commandment of God. Is that written in a law anywhere? I mean, it's amazing whenever people talk about laws and commandments, and they say, well, there's 160 something laws and there's 200 and something commandments of God. Do we count this stuff? Do we count the first commandment? What was the first commandment? The first commandment was go forth and multiply. Wasn't it? Was it that one, or was it don't eat the fruit? I could swear the first commandment was go forth and multiply. Do we count that as a commandment? I mean, we need to get down to what's really being talked about here. If we're going to listen to what God tells us to do, or if we're going to argue about what God tells us to do. Because last time I checked, when God tells me not to do something, I probably shouldn't do it. This is God telling the King of Judah, if you take care of the people, I'll take care of you. But if you don't take care of the people, I will bring this house to desolation. That's a good commandment. That's a pretty good commandment. That's yeah, you can't consider that a law. I mean, it's just a commandment of God. He tells you to do something, just do it. What? It becomes so crazy and fussy, and you see it when you really hear people argue about what is and isn't a law or a commandment. You absolutely get to see what people's true values are. You really do get to see what people's true values are. You probably see mine whenever I talk about certain things too. But you can tell. We can talk about holidays. And we can talk about people saying, well, we're not supposed to follow the law anymore. The law says that, we're not supposed to do this and do that and do this. It's like, well, wait a minute. I thought that was the law of Moses. Why is he telling Jeremiah not to do this? Is it a command or is it a law? You tell me. Well, it still sounds like a law because it's supposed to, we're not under that anymore, we're all of God's commandments were nailed to the cross. Like, wait, what? That's what I've heard that. I've heard people say that. Oh, he knows my heart. He knows my heart. He knows that it's okay for me to do this stuff. It's all right. You see it. You see people's true intentions come out whenever you argue this stuff, and it's just like it's mind blowing, is what it is. You know, they really just go out of their way to keep their evil, to keep this world. That's crazy. But that's the way this world is. That's all I can say about that. That's the way this world is. But that right there, that's a commandment of God. If you just be good to the people, I'll be good to you. If you don't, I'm gonna bring this house to desolation. Verse 6, for thus saith the Lord unto the king's house of Judah, thou art Gilead unto me. We've looked up Gilead before, but now we're going to look it up again, because I don't remember. Mountainous region bounded on the west by the Jordan, but on the north by Bashan, by the east by the Arabian Plateau, the land of Gilead, Mount Gilead. It is a rocky region. Thou art Gilead unto me, in the head of Lebanon. I'm going to look it up, see what happens. I sounded like my granddaughter there. We gotta look it up. Okay, sure. It's for real. I'm trying to look in here to see exactly what it means. I don't know. There's not much in here that tells me why thou art Gilead to me, unless there was something else that happened that we missed that the internet is not telling me. I don't know. Okay. But in context, thou art Gilead unto me, in the head of Lebanon, yet surely I will make thee a wilderness, and cities which are not inhabited. Now again, Gilead being a place... Wait, go back to it. There we go. A rocky region, a mountainous region, bounded on the west by the Jordan. But Wikipedia says that it's actually filled with fields. So maybe it is, thou art a good place, but I will make thee a wilderness. Maybe it's a place where a lot of people live, but I will make it desolate. How about that? Does that work? I guess it works. Sometimes you just got to figure this stuff out. Verse 7, and I will prepare destroyers against thee, every one with his weapons, and they shall cut down thy choice cedars and cast them into the fire. Choice cedars. And many nations shall pass by this city, and they shall say every man to his neighbor, Wherefore hath the Lord done thus unto this great city? So why would he have done that? Why would he have done all of this to that great city? Then they shall answer, because they have forsaken the covenant of their Lord, of the Lord their God, and worshipped other gods, and served them. Which again is the whole point of this whole thing, is that you fell away, you decided to mix and mingle your faith, your love, the commandments of God in with pagan rituals, pagan holidays, the pagans, so much so that you are now worshiping other gods. You don't even know it. It's the same exact thing. I mean, you are creating golden calves and saying that it is for God, and God told you that's not. Do not worship me the way that the pagans worship their gods. I think that line alone should be like written right on front of the Bible. Right underneath Holy Bible, it should say, do not worship me the way the pagans worship their God. I think it should be right on the front. But that's exactly what it is. And so many people want to say, well, we don't have to go and we don't have to look at what the, know what the pagan history is of certain things to know that, it's not of God. We'll be okay. We shouldn't have to know that, we shouldn't have to read the Satanic Bible to know, what the enemy does to us. God told us we only need one book. Okay, fine. You only need one book. If you only need the Bible, then you should know by now that you should, if you're not going to read any other texts anywhere that tell you anything, then you should probably already be out in the wilderness, in the trees, hiding. Because that's what your Bible tells you to do. Is that when you've seen the abomination of desolation come into the temple, which we have already seen the abomination of desolation come into the temple of the body, then you should run for the hills. That's what it says. A lot of people disagree with that. I don't care. If we're going to follow the Bible to the Word, we should already be out. Of course, then again, if we're following the Bible to the Word, we should all be out preaching on the streets, but we're not. So that's what it is. I'm just as guilty. I doing what I'm doing. Okay, but I heard it the other day, too, that they don't need to read any other texts. They don't need to read the plans against them. That God has their back on everything. That's quite all right. If you want to do it that way, that's awesome. You don't have to read anything else. You don't have to be learned. You don't have to be like the Bereans and then go out and, prove everything. Other people, though, we are seeing how the enemy is working against us. If you don't at least read what they're doing, if you don't understand the lies, the way that they have manipulated you into worshiping their gods without you knowing it, then you will fall. That is the snares and traps that we constantly talking about. Those are the snares and traps that the people on high, the evil people, the spiritual principalities, those are the ones that I talk about. They've tricked you, manipulated you. This is the great deception. There are so many people out there that say, oh no, we're not in a great deception because God hasn't removed the blocks yet. Really? Really? You think God hasn't removed the blocks yet? That the great deception is not upon us? That the Antichrist spirit is not already with us? You keep looking for a man to come out of nowhere to be the thing that you can point at and say, look, there he is right there. No, devil doesn't play fair. I don't know how many times I gotta say that. The devil does not play fair. You're not looking for a man. You're looking for a spirit. You're looking for a system. You're looking for that beast system. There will be an antichrist, sure. But the spirit is already upon you. It is already out there among us. The antichrist may have already come, and we are just living under the system that he has put into place. It's you're not going to. Okay, let's try this another way. If the Antichrist has already come, if Satan has already started pushing his agendas upon everybody, what would be the first thing he would do to trick you? Is he would start changing everything. What was I was talking about the other day? It was Daniel 25, whatever. What was it? Daniel 25, I think. Maybe it wasn't 25. Maybe it was it 225? Oh God, I can't remember what it was now. Where it was talking about. Thank you, Father, for that. I appreciate that. He let me flip right to it. Thank you, God. Daniel 7:25. I knew there was a 25 in it. He let me flip right to it. That was awesome. 7:25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. This is the 10 horns. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. This is the Antichrist. This is the one everybody's looking for. This is part of the beast. But he shall wear out the most saints, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. He shall change times. He shall think to change time. They've already changed times on you, if you haven't already noticed by now. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, about the calendars, about the Gregorian calendars, and based off of the Julian calendars, based off of whatever other calendars. Everything you know has been changed and turned. The calendars now are set that way in order to appease the sun. We don't follow a lunar calendar anymore, like we had done for thousands of years before now. But that is part of the way to find out that we are in that Antichrist system. Is they've already started doing these things. They've already started changing God's laws, changing God's times, changing God's feasts. It's already here. You just happen to open your eyes to it. And he's not playing fair. Who said the devil's going to play fair? You're gonna get the truth. But while that's happening, you're going to be bombarded with lies. We are drowning in lies. I don't know how many times I've said that. We are drowning in lies. And there's only so many people that are seeing through to the truth to see that, oh no, wait. They've been doing this to us all this time. They've been doing that to us all this time. And so many people are so convinced by their false teachers, their false prophets, that no, we're not there yet. It's okay. You've got time. You've got time to go be as greedy and mischievous and blasphemous as you want to be. You'll be okay. Just go off and do whatever you want to. Just come back next Sunday, pay your tithe, and do your prayers, sing your songs. God will forgive you, because God knows your heart. God will forgive you. If you can't see the evil, if you cannot see the evil of all of that by now, I don't know what to tell you, because it's just right out in front of your face at this point. It really is right out in front of your face. Let's keep going though. I could go on like that for a while. Verse 10. Verse 10. Weep ye not. God, my throat. Hold on a second. I was pretty good with my throat there for a while. It just feels like it's been closing up. I had a pretty hard cough a little bit ago. It kind of ruined everything. Verse 10. Weep ye not for the dead, neither bemoan him, but weep sore for him that goeth away, for he shall return no more, nor see his native country. For thus saith the Lord touching Shalom, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, which reigned instead of Josiah his father, which went forth out of this place. He shall not return thither any more, but he shall die in the place whither they have led him captive, and shall see this land no more. So weep ye not for the dead, neither bemoan him, but weep sore for him that goeth away. For he shall return no more, nor see his native country. Weep for those that are taken captive. There will always be a remnant, but weep for those that are taken away, that will never get to come back to this place, that will never get to understand. Just another one of those little hints at who is and isn't in the promised land anymore. For thus saith the Lord, touching Shalom, retribution, third son of King Josiah. Yeah, we got that one. There's a lot of people named Shalom. Wow. This is a lot of, there's like 14 entries in here. But his name means retribution. For thus saith the Lord, touching Shalom the son of Josiah, king of Judah, which reigned instead of Josiah his father, which went forth out of this place, he shall not return thither any more. But he shall die in a place whither they have led him captive, and shall see this land no more. It's just pretty much what I said, is they take him out of they're taking him out of that city, taking him out of that nation, that country, and putting him somewhere else, and he will not be able to go back. That there are, I think pretty much anybody can go back, they just can't live there anymore. There are very strict rules in living in Israel right now. Again, it makes you question who the real people that are supposed to be living there actually are. It's not just anybody can get in there. Anyways, I could go on about that stuff too, but we're not going to. We're gonna keep our mouths shut. We're gonna be nice. We'll try to, at least. Verse 13, woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that useth his neighbor's service without wages, and giveth him not for his work. That saith, I will build me a wide house and large chambers, and cutteth him out windows, and it is sealed with cedar, and painted with vermilion. Shalt thou reign, because thou closest thyself in cedar? Did not thy father eat and drink, and do judgment and justice, and then it was well with him? He judged the cause of the poor and needy, then it was well with him. Was not this to know me, saith the Lord? But thine eyes and thine hearts are not but for... Let me try that one again. But thine eyes and thine hearts are not but for thy covetousness, and for to shed innocent blood, and for oppression, and for violence to do it. Therefore thus saith the Lord concerning Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, they shall not lament for him, saying, Ah, my brother, or Ah, sister. They shall not lament for him, saying, Ah, Lord, or Ah, his glory. He shall be buried with the burial of an ass, drawn and cast forth beyond the gates of Jerusalem. Alright, that was a lot. Back up to 13. Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that useth his neighbor's service without wages, and giveth him not for his work. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. That saith, I will build me a white house, and large chambers, and cutteth him out windows, and it is sealed with cedar, and painted with vermilion. Why would it be painted with vermilion? That would be a bad thing. It's a red color. Painted red. Maybe... Well, we know cedar was a very good tree for them to have. So possibly painted red, painted vermilion was probably one of those hard paints to get. It's kind of like blue dye. Back in the day, apparently blue dye you could only get in certain places. So if you had something that was colored blue, that's why the color blue is associated with royalty. The blue and purple are associated with royalty is because only so many people could get those colors of dyes. And apparently the only place they could find them is, from what I understood, the only place you could find them was like in sea creatures. I don't remember if it was a clam or if it was like a certain kind of seahorse or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. But it was a very hard dye to come by. So maybe this is part of that. Who knows? Again, stuff to look up for yourself. I don't think it's... I think that we get the general gist of it, so we don't have to look it up so much. Verse 15. Shalt thou reign because thou closeth thyself in cedar? Did not thy father eat and drink, and do judgment and justice, and then it was well with him? Shalt thou reign? Shalt thou be better than everyone else because you close yourself off in cedar, because you have a nice house, because you have such a nice place? I mean, didn't your father, did not thy father eat and drink and do judgment and justice, and then it was well with him? Isn't that, didn't your father do all this good stuff and he was okay? Did he have to have the big house with the windows and the cedar and the vermilion, the red paint? He didn't need all that stuff. You, on the other hand, you apparently need it because kids get spoiled more and more as they go. He judged the cause of the poor and needy. Then it was well with him. Was not this known to me, saith the Lord? Was not this to know me, saith the Lord? He judged the cause of the poor and needy. That's how you know the Lord, is to judge righteously, to be humble. But thine eyes and thine heart are not but for thy covetousness, and for to shed innocent blood, and for oppression, and for violence to do it. There you go. Therefore thus saith the Lord concerning Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, they shall not lament for him, saying, Ah, my brother, or Ah, sister. They shall not lament for him, saying, Ah, Lord, or Ah, his glory. Because he is more spoiled than his father. He shall be buried with the burial of an ass, drawn and cast forth beyond the gates of Jerusalem. Just to make sure, verse 18, Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, and the third from the last, king of Judah, subject vassal of Nebuchadnezzar, who reigned for 11 years before he died, a violent death either in combat or by the hands of his own subjects. This is Jehoiakim, who was the son of Josiah. His father's reign was noteworthy for great revivals back to the worship of Jehovah, which he led. Josiah brought the people back. Jehoiakim just let it all fall apart. You get it? Jehoiakim was a vassal for Nebuchadnezzar because he wanted something that his father didn't, because he turned his back on God, turned his back on the way. That's why God gave a little parable of building a better house than your father, or not building a better house than your father, building a more extravagant house than your father, because your father just wanted to, he wanted to do right in the sight of the Lord. You wanted to build yourself up a castle, and because of that, I'm gonna tear it down, because you're not listening to what I told you to do. It's good stuff when you really read it. It's when you really read it and you kind of get that understanding, you're just like, wow, awesome. Bible's an amazing book. I'm not gonna lie. Verse 20, go up to Lebanon and cry, and lift up thy voice in Bashan, and cry from the passages, for all thy lovers are destroyed. I spake unto thee in thy prosperity, but thou saidst, I will not hear. This hath been thy manner from thy youth, that thou obeyest not my voice. The wind shall eat up all thy pastors, and thy lovers shall go into captivity. Surely then shalt thou be ashamed and confounded for all thy wickedness. O inhabitant of Lebanon, that makest thy nest in the cedars, how gracious shalt thou be when pangs come upon thee, the pain as of a woman in travail. As I live, saith the Lord, though Coniah the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, were the signet upon my right hand, yet would I pluck thee thence. And I will give thee into the hand of them that seek thy life, and into the hand of them whose face thou fearest, even into the hands of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and into the hands of the Chaldeans. And I will cast thee out, and thy mother that bare thee, into another country, where ye were not born, and there shall ye die. But to the land whereunto they desire to return, thither shall they not return. Is this man Coniah a despised broken idol? Is he a vessel wherein is no pleasure? Wherefore are they cast out, he and his seed, and are cast into a land which they know not? O earth, 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 hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord. Sorry, let's try that one again. Verse 30, thus saith the Lord, write ye this man childless, a man that shall not prosper in his days, for no man of his seed shall prosper, sitting upon the throne of David and ruling any more in Judah. Alright, I'm going to take a drink of water and then we're going to go over that one again. It's just that one part of my throat is so raw. Yeah. And it's in the front of my throat too. You get it in the front of your throat. You can get the back of your throat all day, with water. It's just trying to get it to hit the front of your throat. You're just like, what do I have to do? Do I have to bend forward and try to try to drink my water so that it'll hit the front? Maybe whatever this force of nature that we have that's called gravity, maybe it'll hit it. I don't know. Anyways, we're with 20. Verse 20? Is that where we are? Alright, back up to verse 20. Go up to Lebanon and cry, and lift up thy voice in Bashan, and cry from the passages, for all thy lovers are destroyed. I love it whenever they use the word Bashan, because they constantly, even whenever you're talking about Christ and the apostles, they're constantly talking about Og of Bashan. It was something to remember. Bashan was a place to remember. So many people don't, they don't want to do the whole giants thing. They don't want to do the whole, they don't want to have any understanding of the kind of place Bashan was. But Bashan was a land of giants. It was a land of giant fruit, milk and honey, the best food in the world. And they make a lot of references back to Og. And people need to see it. People need to understand exactly what was happening there. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people will just say, oh, it's just fairy tales. It's just the Bible just embellishing. It's all right. It's not the Bible embellishing anything. It's the Bible God is doing his best to try to get you to understand something here. It's one of the ways I was woken up was, holy smokes, this Og of Bashan, he was a big boy. That's another thing for another time. But go up to Lebanon and cry, and lift up the voice in Bashan, and cry from the passages, for all thy lovers are destroyed. I spake unto thee in thy prosperity, but thou saidst, I will not hear. This hath been thy manner from thy youth, that thou obeyest not my voice. You had the best things in the world, and I told you. Be careful. Use them wisely. But you didn't listen. You didn't want to listen. You didn't want to hear. This has been the way you have been since the day you were born, that thou obeyest not my voice. That is heavy, but that is beautiful. That is exactly what needs to be heard. And that's why so many of these satanic elitist nut jobs are out there right now saying, well, this is not the time for prosperity anymore. We are now entering a time where we have less, where there is a decrease. Because in our best days, which we've had our best days, we didn't listen to God. We fell away. You let those evil spirits, those evil tempters, come in and give you lies, feed you garbage and nonsense, and you believed it. And you didn't once listen to God. God said, don't do this. Don't listen to these people. Cast out evil where you can, or it will come upon you. But no, nobody listened. And we got subverted. And it got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse. And now we're here at this point. There's always time to come back. There's always time to come back. Even if there were 10 righteous people, he would have saved the city. Are there 10 righteous people? Is there anyone that's listening to this that's doing their part? You have the sword of the Spirit, which is the part of the full armor of God. If you're putting on the full armor of God, you have the sword of the Spirit, which is an offensive weapon. Use it. I am more than happy to shed off this mortal coil and move on to the next step, whatever it is. Whether I get judged righteously or whether I get judged poorly, whatever happens to me, I'm over this. This world has shown me that there is nothing good anymore. So, what are we doing to change it? There's nothing in the Bible that says that we are just supposed to sit on our hands and do nothing. So what are we doing? But it's been like this since the day we were born because we were fed lies. Remember, just a couple chapters back, where we went through the whole thing where it said, let me see, my best quote of the entire, one of the best quotes of the entire Bible is that my fortress and my, O Lord, my strength, my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles, the nations, the people of the world, those that are not your chosen people, shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity and things wherein there is no profit. They inherited lies. They gave it to us. It has been our manner since our youth that we did not obey God's voice. God has woken up so many people over the past 5-10 years. But everyone has been fed these lies. Raise up a child in the name of God, and they will never go wrong. Something similar to that. But we haven't. We've been lied to. We've been lied to and manipulated. And since the days of our youth, we have not obeyed. And that's where we are now. There has to be a change. There has to be something that happens. And it cannot happen by us sitting on our hands and doing nothing. Verse 22, the wind shall eat up all thy pastors, and thy lovers shall go into captivity. Surely then shalt thou be ashamed and confounded for all thy wickedness. O inhabitant of Jerusalem, or inhabitant of Lebanon, I don't know where I got Jerusalem from. O inhabitant of Lebanon, I almost said it again. Thou makest thy nest in the cedars. How gracious shalt thou be when pangs come upon thee, the pain as of a woman in travail. Thou makest thy nest in cedars. You have made a house of cedars, a castle of the strongest wood you could find, the best wood you could find, the prettiest wood you could find, so that you cannot be hurt and destroyed. And you've made your nest there in extravagance and all of these things, and you have not listened to God. How gracious shall thou be when pangs come upon thee, the pain as of a woman in travail, which a lot of people are saying we're seeing right now, and it's just going to get worse and worse. It's always time to turn back. As I live, saith the Lord, though Coniah the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Coniah, that's verse 24, Coniah, Jehovah will establish, another name for King Jehoiakim. Another name for King Jehoiakim? The next to the last king. Oh, this is the next to the last king. So this is the son of Jehoiakim. You got to remember, it went from Josiah to Jehoiakim to this Coniah to one more that we have not seen yet. So this was the next to the last son before Jerusalem was wiped off the map the first time. I got you. Where are we at? 24. As I live, saith the Lord, though Coniah the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, were the signet upon my right hand, yet would I pluck thee thence. And I will give thee into the hand of them that seek thy life, and into the hand of them whose face thou fearest, even into the hand of Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, and into the hand of the Chaldeans. Yet again, he's saying, even though Coniah the son of Jehoiakim were the signet upon my right hand, though your son could do better than you, and he could be the one that I chose. Let me see if I can see again. Jehovah will establish. You have to. So the names, I haven't been talking about the names. Where is Josiah? Josiah was. Oh, come on now. Where'd you go? Was that Jehovah will. It wasn't Jehovah will establish. It was Jehovah will. Whom Jehovah heals. Whom God heals. And Jehoiakim says is God raises up, and then Coniah is God will establish. So even though this one shall be the signet upon my right hand, I'm still going to pluck you up. I'm still going to pull you up, and I'm going to give you over. Because yet again, you're not listening. You're not listening. You're doing your absolute best not to obey me. Since your youth, you have not obeyed me. You have not even remotely tried to hear anything I've told you. You've reveled in it. We've read that. You reveled in not listening to the word of God. And I will give it into the hands of the Chaldeans, 26, and I will cast thee out, and thy mother that bare thee, into another country, where ye were not born, and where ye shall die, and where there shall ye die. Come on, get the words right. And there shall ye die. But to the land whereunto they desire to return, thither shall they not return. Yet again, the land where he pulled them, they shall not go back. Until the time that they shall go back. Is this man Coniah a despised broken idol? Is he a vessel wherein is no pleasure? Wherefore are they cast out, he and his seed, and are cast into a land which they know not? Why are they cast out? Well, because they wouldn't listen yet again. O earth, 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 hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, write ye this man childless, a man that shall not prosper in his days, for no man of his seed shall prosper, sitting upon the throne of David, and ruling any more in Judah. For no man of his seed shall prosper that is sitting on a throne in Judah. That I will not let any man in this world that sits on that throne be able to prosper. That land shall never prosper again. Yet again makes you ask a question. Where is this promised land we're talking about? There's a land right now that people say is the promised land. Is Jerusalem. Is the place where it is supposed to be. Right now it's prospering through very covetous means. They only make $2.5-3 billion a year through United States tax money. They get even more than that from other countries too, which is insane. Again, America's falling apart, yet we send $2.5 billion to Israel every year. We spend $20 billion on NASA every year. We've already spent $100 billion. $100 billion we've given to the Ukraine. For what? For what? Meanwhile, there are poor people living on the streets, defecating in the streets of Los Angeles. There are people overdosing, shooting up, taking drugs, overdosing, dying right in the streets of Philadelphia. There is a problem in this world. A very large problem in this world. And it is evil, and it is wicked, and it is twisted. And if we refuse to wake up and call it out, if we refuse to push it out and away, it will consume us. And there are so many people out there right now that are more than happy to sit on their hands and do nothing. And just wait. God is coming any minute. Oh boy, I'm going to get my popcorn and wait. Until that happens, what are you doing? What are you doing to help the people of this world that don't know? What am I doing to help the people of this world that don't know? What are these videos doing? What's it any good? What is my ranting and raving on Twitter, on Facebook? Is it doing any good at all? Who is it reaching? Who cares? The brick wall that I yell towards has, it's starting to turn. The brick wall that I yell at is it's actually starting to understand the concept. But no, what are people doing? I've been saying this for a long time now. You're either going to sit on your hands and you do nothing, and you're not going to inherit anything because God told you to get up and do something about it, or we're going to get up and do something about it. It's not going to take much. People are not inherently, well, I don't want to say that. I can get into that argument all day too. I don't want to say they're inherently evil. There's still a matter of good in certain people, but it's not like we're inherently good or evil. It's, I think we're baseline. We just kind of tip either way. Because people constantly, people are inherently good. They're going to do what's good for them. It's like, no, they're not. You ever seen somebody that was starving? You ever seen somebody that was on the very bottom rung that was more than willing to hurt, destroy, manipulate, and kill you just to get something they wanted? Have you ever been around a drug user that didn't have a fix, that couldn't get a fix? I've seen people like that. I know the depths of sickness that people can go through. There is no inherent good in people. We are all baseline. We are taught that we can either be good or evil. Unfortunately, everyone, as soon as they're born now, is taught to be evil. Maybe slowly, but their empathy, their grace, their understanding is skewed. Their values are completely diminished. And they're just not taught the right things. I've seen it firsthand. I see what these kids teach the children nowadays. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. 20 years ago, whenever I was going through this with my ex-girlfriend, I saw it then too. Or 10 years ago, whatever it was, 15 years ago, when I was helping to raise a kid. And I didn't understand it at the time, but I was right there. Now the values have stepped down on another level. When I was being brought up, whenever my mom was bringing me up, that was just one step above where we were 20 years ago. And I'm sure my mom's generation was just like that. And then before that, their generation. Before that, their generation. It is a snowball effect. the values get lower and lower and lower and lower and lower because evil gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And now we're to the point where they're just not teaching kids empathy. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't see empathy in my grandchild. I don't see it. Places where she should be worried about you. Are you okay? You know, is there a problem? I don't see that. That scares the hell out of me. We've inherited the lies of our father. We have been manipulated like this from youth. We have not obeyed God from our youth. We have been told to take pride and to revel in all of the evil and the wickedness of this world. That's the lie. That's where we are. We are living the great deception. Do not get it wrong. You are living in the great deception. You have to learn the truth. You have to find the truth. I gotta go. My wife is not awake. I have to go see if she's gonna wake or not, or she's gonna wake up or not. Because, you know, when she sleeps past a certain time, it just means that her alarm's not going off. So I love you guys. Take care of yourselves, man. God bless every one of you. I will talk to you all later. Is today Thursday? Today is Thursday. Yes, it is. Wow. All right. This week went quick. I swear it's like the... No, that was last week. I can't use that joke this week, can I? I could have said last week was like the shortest week of the year. But I can't use that joke. Anyways, you guys take care of yourselves. I love you. I will talk to you later. Bye.